Hello, and welcome to another episode of The End of the Search. This one I call it Not Knowing is Inner Peace. What do I mean by that? Life is just if I want to use this word, field of infinite possibilities, pure potentiality, spontaneity. That's life. It simply is. Life is. Now, this idea of knowing from the perspective of intellectual knowing is something that happens in thought. It happens in mind, but not in life. Life simply is. Life is being. And then thought shows up, and that's when the conceptualization begins. Interestingly enough, not knowing, meaning resting in what is inner peace. Wanting to know disturbed the peace we're pointing to here. Because the mind needs to know, it needs to control. I need to know what's going to happen, how things are going to work out, where my next meal is coming from. But all of that are just thoughts that are disturbing or seem to be disturbing the fact that I rest in I am, which is being. And then the question that you may ask, okay, I can rest in being, but how do I function? How do I know what to do? Again, we're missing the mark. Being is the field of infinite potentiality. And whatever that needs to be done, it happens organically. It happens naturally. You see? What is the next thought you're going to have? You don't know. And life doesn't know either. Life is. But you always know what is the next thought you're going to have when you're having it. See? So you know what is the next move you're going to make when you're making it. But the mind gets in the way, the thought gets in the way, and it's afraid and it wants to control, wants to know what is the next move I'm going to make, because it gives the illusion of control. See, it's the illusion of control because I never know what is the next move I'm going to make because I don't even know what is the next thought I'm going to have. So how can I control anything? Yeah, I may fool myself thinking I'm going to do A, B, and C, thinking that that's what I'm going to do, and then I find myself doing D, E, F. And then the mind wants to take ownership of the D, E, F. I chose to do D, E, F. I thought I was going to do A, B, C, but I chose to do D, E, F. But the mind didn't know, we didn't know that D, E, F was a possibility. All I know is that the mind sold me that I was going to do A, B, C, and then all of a sudden, I find myself doing D, E, F. You see? Because I didn't know that I was going to do D, E, F. And if I'm attached to wanting to be A, B, C, and I find myself moved to do D, E, F, then I am in resistance. I don't want to do D, E, F. I wanted to do A, B, C. But I don't have a choice in that matter. I only know what I'm doing while I am doing it. And if I don't let the mind trying to tell me how things should be, when I completely open to what is, trusting that I am life and life is living me and life knows best, and the word know here is kind of in quotations because life is, then there's a recognition that I am, and now I experience that inner peace because I don't need to know. Now, one of the thoughts that may come up, what if life wants the worst for me? What if life wants me to suffer? Well, this is what I could offer. The only thing that life wants, if I'm going to use that context, is to know itself as life. See? To know itself as wholeness. The details in the movie are irrelevant. So when we're always pointing to silence, it's because life always wants to know itself as life, as wholeness. But when we begin with believing the content of the mind, the thoughts, then I want to be a separate entity. Now I want specifics in life. It's like we want the breadcrumbs while we're sitting in the middle of a buffet, but I cannot see it because the thoughts are selling me that piece of bread and the breadcrumbs. And yet, what we're pointing to here is that you are wholeness, you are everything. Consequently, if you are everything, what could you possibly ask for? What else would you want? And in that everything that you are, you rest in the peace that surpasses all understanding as you see life unfolding. And you don't need to know, but you're at peace. See? Did you know that you were going to watch this video? Or the idea came forth and came through and you found yourself watching this video? Maybe you might be lingering in the background thinking, well, I've watched other videos, I would like to watch this one because I put out videos every day. Or you for some reason were scrolling through YouTube, not even know why, and found yourself watching this information. And in the same way, you don't even know what is the next thing you're going to do, even if you think you do. Yeah, 8 o'clock I'm going to go to work. Yeah, that seems to be a routine that you're used to seeing and you assume that's what's going to happen. But the truth is, you don't know. You only know that you're going to be where you're going to be when you are there. You only know what you want to do or what you're going to do when you're doing it. You only know what you're thinking when the thought is there. You only know what you're feeling when the feeling is there. You see? Well, in the field of pure, infinite potentiality that you are, all possibilities are available. And they're happening without your consent. And the mind cannot grasp this because the mind says, no, because I'll be up in limbo. I would not be able to function. Again, functioning happens. You don't function. Functioning is happening organically through whatever script you're supposed to follow. In my script, part of the functioning is making this video. Did I choose to do that? Or is this something that happens? It's just what happens. I don't need to know what's going to happen next. And consequently, I can experience the peace that surpasses all understanding because I simply rest in I am and just observe life unfolding. And if you feel that life should go in a particular way or so, it's not because life is not going to unfold the way it's supposed to. It's because you're letting thoughts, you see, the things that the thing that you know, thoughts get in the way, believing them, and they throw you all over the place. What could happen then? What could happen tomorrow? What if this doesn't happen? What if I don't get this? What if all these thoughts, if you see right through them, you can see that all that there is I am. And the invitation here is to remember that you are. But as long as we believe that we think we know, we are operating from a belief system rather from what really is. And what really is, which is truth, which is what's happening, which is uncontrollable, you see, is what you are. And what you are is, it just simply is. Because it's not about intellectual understanding, it's not about controlling, it's about being. And being doesn't need to know, simply be. And well, this is inspiration that came through. I hope it served. And as always, may peace permeate the mind so that love can become evident.